Hey, good morning. It's still morning. Oh, no, I am wrong. It is noontime. Good afternoon, day trippers. How is everyone today? Fine, I hope. My name is Sharon Schultz, also known as the Bay Lady in the virtual tour world, of which this is part of. Okay. So, anyway, I uh, just want to give a little background. If you want to know more about my tours, I do have some coming up that are um, similar to this, but also will be out and around and about town here pretty soon. I think the weather is might beginning to improve. So that being said, if you want more information about my tours, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady. Also, I broadcast on my Facebook page, The Bay Lady. So either way, either of those platforms will have updates on tours scheduled and things like that. Also, on both websites is a link to a platform called Buy Me a Coffee. Um, the tours that I do, I don't get paid for. So tips are appreciated to keep us going here. And so that's where you may leave a tip if you so desire. Buy me a coffee. And I do love coffee, I will say. I don't know if you can hear the background, the music. We are playing the soundtrack from Paul McCartney's new movie, Man on the Run. The movie was just released on Amazon Prime last week, uh, Thursday, I believe it was, close to the weekend. Um, at any rate, the week before, I went to the theater and saw the new movie on supersized screen on a theater screen. They had, I believe it was 2 nights of a dance showing of Paul's movie, so that was kind of nice. I went the first night and wanted to, just see it on the big screen, and it was worth it for sure. And of course, now since it's been released on Prime, I've actually watched it a couple times. And now this is Prime playing the soundtrack for us. I asked Alexa to do that. And now she thinks I called her name. Interesting. Yes, yes. Okay, so what are we here for? Beatles Significa. What is Beatles Significa? It's Beatles trivia, right? I call it Beatles Significa just to add a little mystery to the mix, but mostly because of this. This is a 1980, 1980s game, a card deck, and it's called Beatles Significa. And on the back, it says a game for two or more players. Um, 832 questions and answers covering every aspect of the Beatles phenomenon. It's Beatle years only from birth to breakup. So I've been working on this for a while now. I don't think we'll ever get through the full deck. But at any rate, I am going to extract one of the cards here and let's play a little Beatles Significa. Feel free to, guess. You can chat, type, chat. I will say that this is live on both Facebook and YouTube. If you're on either, you have the capability to chat. However, sometimes it gets confusing when I have people from both platforms on here because I can see obviously what everybody is chatting about, but the people on Facebook can only see the Facebook chats, and the people on YouTube can only see the YouTube chats. So it gets kind of confusing when I'm answering a question that not everybody can see. So, anyway, feel free. Let's post the answers. Question number 1. Which Beatle was born in the Liverpool Maternity Hospital during an air raid? Which Beatle was born in the Liverpool Maternity Hospital during an air raid? Who do you think? Well, air raids were taking place in and around England in what, 1940, 41, 42, 43. When did World War II end? 45? Well, that wasn't very helpful, was it? Didn't narrow that down any, did we? Well, let us see then what the answer is. So, which Beatle was born in the Liverpool Maternity Hospital during an air raid? Why, it was John. Okay, so John was born October 9th, 1940, so must have been the beginning of World War II. Wow, there were bombs bursting in his air for like till he was way past toddler and probably in school. Interesting. Question number 2. What Beatles song is noted for its Beach Boy-like harmonies? What Beatles song is noted for its Beach Boy-like harmonies? Beach Boy-like. That's interesting because I saw something recently that was talking about how the Beach Boys were trying to imitate the Beatles. Pet Sounds, the Beach Boys album, was compared to Sgt. Pepper, the Beatles album. Did I get that right? Who knows? Okay, so which Beatles song has a Beach Boy vibe to it? Back in the USSR. I wouldn't have guessed that. Back in the USSR has Beach Boy-like harmonies. Interesting. Okay. The promoter who auditioned the Beatles at Alan Williams's Blue Angel Club and signed them to back Johnny Gentle was named Larry. Who? I'll read that one again. The promoter who auditioned the Beatles at Alan Williams's Blue Angel Club and signed them to back Johnny Gentle was named Larry Parnes. Parnes. Larry Parnes. Not too familiar a name. I don't recall it actually, but of course, there's a lot of things I don't recall. Anyway, next question. In the Let It Be movie, what song was Paul referring to when he said, "We always hated the words to that one"? Another stumper here. Okay, in the Let It Be movie, what song was Paul referring to when he said, "We always hated the words to that one"? Do we know what words they hated writing? The one after the 909. Okay, that was a pretty cool rock song. Words were kind of catchy. One after 909. Traveling on that line. Oh well, oh well. It's a good song. Are you hearing the background here? The new Man on the Run soundtrack is playing behind us here, giving us a little inspiration. Okay, next question. What movie has a train compartment scene with a bothered businessman declaring, I've been traveling this line for 14 years? What movie has a train compartment scene with a bothered businessman declaring, I've been traveling this line for 14 years? Well, they didn't say a Beatles movie, but the first thing that comes to my mind about a train compartment would be A Hard Day's Night. And remember, there were some business types in suits, including Paul's grandfather. He had a tie, right? And that they had a couple of compartments on that train. So, all right, let's see. Read the question one more time. In the Let It Be movie, what movie has a train compartment scene with a bothered businessman who says, I've been traveling this line for 14 years? And the answer, The Magic Christian. I was wrong. Anybody get it right? Nobody's chatting. No. See comments. Don't have any to see. Oh no, what did I do? No comments. Uh-oh, what happened? No, come back. There we go, come back here. Ah, help. All right, now we're back. I'll tell you, these things are so sensitive, either that or my fingers are so clumsy because every time I try to adjust something midstream, I end up losing my video. Not always, but just kidding. Anywho, next question. The Beatles sing about a go-getter who works in a shop. Name her and her brother. Oh, man. The Beatles sing about a go-getter who works in a shop. Name her and her brother. She's a go-getter. Sergeant Pepper album, the song from Sergeant Pepper. She's a go-getter. She's a go-getter. Huh. Darn, I can't think of it. Her and her brother. It's not Lovely Rita on 12 night. Oh well, shall we look? Okay, I'll look. Mean Mr. Mustard. Ham. And Mean Mr. Mustard. Interesting. Okay, John left India in disgust after the Maharishi had made romantic advances to whom? John left India in disgust after the Maharishi had made romantic advances to whom? The answer, anybody? The answer is nobody. It was a fabricated, made up story. Gee, they didn't do that, did they? Fake news? Nah. Okay. What Beatles song uses the word ensemble, sort of? What Beatles song uses the word ensemble, sort of? That doesn't make much sense to me. Does anybody else know what they're talking about here? Anybody have any sense of this? Ensemble, sort of. What is a sort of ensemble? Ensemble is what? An ensemble is like a musical ensemble, a group of musicians assembling to play. Right? All right, let's look. Michelle. What Beatles song uses the word ensembles? Michelle, because they had that orchestra kind of segment there in the story, right? Good figure. Okay, it's one card down. Before we go further, I got some new books here. I have a couple trivias, and of course, I had this card deck. I've had it since 1980. Anyway, I thought maybe we'd do one of these. Let's see. All right, where do they keep the answers? Hold on, gotta know what the answers are before I look at the questions. Okay, the answers are back here. Oh, geez, lots of answers. Okay. Shall we try some Beatles questions? Okay, they have the answers right there with the chapter. Oh, yeah. All right, so this is the book we'll use. Brand new, courtesy of Amazon shopping. 250 questions to test your knowledge of the best-selling group in history. On the back, the Beatles quiz book. Alexa, reduce volume, please. It's a little better, right? Okay, so it says, do you really know the Beatles? Have you picked up lots of little-known facts about the group over the years? Then the time has come now to put your knowledge to the test with this enjoyable quiz about the most successful and best-selling group of all time. This book contains 250 informative and entertaining questions, all with multiple choice answers. Some are easy, some are more challenging, and they are all designed to test your knowledge of the Beatles and teach you a new fact or two. The book is packed with information and is a must-have for all true Beatle fans wherever you live in the world. How perfect was that? Okay, the book is by Colin Carter, in case you're interested. All right, here we go. Chapter 1 is called Easy Start. This is what the page looks like with all the questions and the answer choices. Question number 1. Which city were all the Beatles born in? Was it Leeds, Leicester, Liverpool, or London? They're all L words, L places rather. Leeds, Leicester, Liverpool, and London. It's Liverpool. We all know that. I'll check. Oh, yeah, Liverpool. Who was the youngest? John, Paul, George, or Ringo? I know this one too. Ooh, I know the answer. Do you? Who is the youngest? Why, it was George, of course. George was the youngest. The order by oldest to youngest was Ringo, John, Paul, and George. Who was the shortest in height? John, Paul, George, or Ringo? Who is the shortest? The one who sat up the tallest. My guess, Ringo. At 5 feet 6 inches, he was the tallest. George was 5 feet 10 inches. John was 5 feet 11 inches. And Paul is 5 feet 11 inches also. So Paul and John are the same height. Interesting. And they were the tallest. Interesting. Okay, next. When did John and Paul meet for the first time? When did John and Paul meet for the first time? Now, they give us full dates here, so you might want to write them down. First choice, January 6th, 1957. April 6th, 1957. July 6th, 1957. October 6th, 1957. Well, I believe that we can say they met for the first time in 1957. But what's with these sixes? January 6th, April 6th, July 6th, or October 6th? When did they meet for the first time? They met outdoors, right? I don't think it would be January. I think it would be April or July. And those are just my guesses because I don't really have a clue. So, when did they meet for the first time? January 6th, April 6th, July 6th, or October 6th? July 6th, 1957. John and Paul met for the first time. Ooh. Where did they meet for the first time? Where did John and Paul meet for the first time? Was it at a church bazaar, at the circus, at a fun fair, or at school? At a church bazaar, a circus, a fun fair, or at school? Where did John and Paul meet for the first time? I am going to say they met at the church thing. Shall we find out? Yep. John was performing with the quarrymen at the Woolton Parish Church. After the show, Paul introduced himself to John and played him a few songs, including Eddie Cochran's 20 Flight Rock, which obviously impressed him, as 2 weeks later, Paul was asked to join the band. Okay, next to question number 6. Where did Paul and George meet? Did they meet at a snooker club? What is a snooker club? Snooker, Snooker. Somebody enlighten me. Where did Paul and George meet? At a snooker club, at school music classes, on a bus, or on the River Mersey ferry? Where did John? God, why do I keep saying John? Where did Paul and George meet? At a snooker club, at school music classes, on a bus, on the River Mersey ferry. Where was that? On a bus on the way to school is the answer. Paul met George for the first time on a bus on the way to school. Which band had John formed before he had met any of the other Beatles? Which band had John formed before he met any of the other Beatles? Was it the Cavemen, the Highwaymen, the Quarrymen, or the Weathermen? They were all men. Cavemen, Highwaymen, Quarrymen, Weathermen. We all know it's the Quarrymen, right? Right. He formed the Quarrymen in 1956, and it evolved into the Beatles by 1960. The band was named after John's school, Quarryback High School. Very cool. Okay, what was the group's early nickname? What was the Beatles' early nickname? Was it the Fab Four, the Fantastic Four, the Fresh Four, or the Friendly Four? Okay, Fab Four, Fantastic Four, Fresh Four, Friendly Four. Try saying that 4 times fast. The answer is the Fab Four, obviously. I think I've used that nickname, the Fab Four. I believe I used it in the advertisement for this Beatles session here. Okay, what was the group's first single? First single. Was it From Me to You, Love Me Do, Please Please Me, or She Loves You? The group's first single. From Me to You, Love Me Do, Please Please Me, or She Loves You. Now, I will tell you that this is not specific as to which first signal that they are referring to, the one in the UK or the one here. Okay, even the albums that were released were different order of songs, different songs. Album covers were different sometimes. So this doesn't say if it was UK or America. So I'm going to say America, just because that's where I bought it. I don't know. Anywho, so the first single, From Me to You, Love Me Do, Please Please Me, or She Loves You. And it was Love Me Do, released in October 1962. October 1962. Love Me Do. And let's see, question 10. What was the group's debut album? Okay, what was the group's debut album? Was it Introducing the Beatles, Meet the Beatles, Please Please Me, or With the Beatles? Okay, what was the name of their debut album, their very first album? Introducing the Beatles, Meet the Beatles, Please Please Me, or With the Beatles? Please Please Me was the first album released by the Beatles in March of 1963. Please Please Me is the answer. Very cool, that book. I think I like it. Let's see, my other new books. Let's look at this one. Oh, this is fun facts, too. Let's look at fun facts. Let them tell us some things instead of asking things, right? Why not? Let's see. It's a nice looking book. It's got a good cover, right? Okay. So this is called The Beatles, Collection of quizzes. Okay. Collection of quizzes, fun facts about music of the Beatles. Challenging quizzes for serious Beatle fans of all time. There's nothing on that. Okay. No, this is interesting. This is a ebook. Don't know who published it, but okay. Bear with me here. I'm looking at the table of contents, and it's all about trivia questions. Where are the facts? Just the facts, lady, just the facts. Fun facts. Well, maybe it's all about the quiz. What? Sorry. This is interesting. This book. Okay, let's do. Let me do this. Let me give you one of these questions. Beatles trivia. The Beatles, part 1. Number 1. This is an amazing find here, sir. Looks like a book. It's in terribly deteriorated shape, but there are some facts we've managed to gather. What is the one fact that does not fit into the Beatle book discovery? It involves a dirty man and a clinging wife who doesn't understand, based on a novel by a man named Lear. I am not a Spaniard is faintly visible on the spine of the book. It's 1,000 pages, give or take a few. What are we talking about? I do not know. I'll read it again and then we'll go search down the answer here. This is an amazing find here, sir. Looks like a book. It's in terribly deteriorated shape, but there are some facts we've managed to gather. What is the one fact that does not fit into the Beatle book discovery? Was it involves a dirty man and a clinging wife? It's based on a novel by a man named Lear. I am not a Spaniard is faintly visible on the spine of the book. And it's 1,000 pages, give or take a few. All right, what the heck are they talking about here? Hold on. Answers around here somewhere. After all the questions I see. The correct answer is I am not a Spaniard is faintly visible on the spine of the book. The song, of course, is Paperback Writer. Okay, Paperback Writer. I still don't quite get what they're talking about, but okay. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. All these are lines from the song except for I am not a Spaniard. Okay. Question 2. Most peculiar, Professor. A bag containing what seems to be a chocolate dessert of some kind. And even more odd is 50 acorns tied in a sack. These artifacts are physical remnants from which song? Being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, Savory Truffle, The Ballad of John and Yoko, or The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill. So, I'll read it again. Number 2 question. Most peculiar, Professor. Most peculiar. A bag containing what seems to be a chocolate dessert of some kind. And even more odd, 50 acorns tied in a sack. These artifacts are physical remnants from which song? Being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, Savory Truffle, The Ballad of John and Yoko, or The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill. And the answer is back here somewhere. The correct answer for number 2 question was The Ballad of John and Yoko. The Ballad of John and Yoko was released in 1969 and appears on the Hey Jude album. It is also on the CD Past Masters 2. In a few short minutes, the song condenses and the adventures and plights of John and Yoko. In just a few short minutes, the song condenses the adventures and plights of John and Yoko. The dessert, incidentally, was cake. Okay, that was pretty interesting, wasn't it? Now, Brady, well, this book's a little weird. I find it a little weird. We'll do more of it later. I want to see what's great secrets this one holds, okay? 100 things Beatle fans should know and do before they die. That's a good one, right? It's by Gillian Garr. Okay. On the back, it says, The Ultimate Resource Guide for True Beatle Fans. Most Beatle fans can sing all their favorite songs by heart, have seen the Beatles' historic 1964 appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show, and have heard the story of Stuart Sutcliffe. But only real fans have visited the Cavern Club, know where John and Paul first met, or what record label passed on the Beatles after a 1962 audition. 100 Things Beatle Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die is the ultimate resource for true Beatle fans of the Fab Four. Whether you're a diehard enthusiast from the days of Meet the Beatles and Sgt. Pepper, or fell in love while playing the Beatles rock band. These are 100 things all fans should know and do in their lifetime. Acclaimed rock journalist Gillian Carr has collected every essential piece of Beatles knowledge and trivia, as well as must-do activities, and ranks them all from 1 to 100, providing an entertaining and easy-to-follow checklist as you progress on your way to fan superstardom. Hey, can we do that? Hello, Peru. How are you? Fine, I hope. Okay, let's see what this. Here's the book. Let's us see. Oh my goodness, got lots of chapters here, like 50. No, oh, okay, 100 chapters. Okay, for 100 facts, right? Well, let's see how this works. Okay, so these are just various things that we can read about. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to pick one of these 100 questions. Let's see. What shall we do? The very last Beatles show. Okay, let's see. Here's an interesting chapter, an apple a day. An apple a day. Let's check that out. Did anybody see McCartney on his worldwide tour? Got that? Get that? I did. I saw him. Okay, an apple a day. Apple Corps Limited was the Beatles company, founded in 1967 as the Beatles Limited, and oops, just trying to see. Okay. Okay, Jose. Good to see you. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna learn about Apple Corps. All right. It was founded in 1967 as the Beatles Limited, renamed Apple Corps Limited in 1968. The Beatles explained that the company's purpose was to spread their wealth, using their money to encourage other artists to see if we can't get artistic freedom within a business structure, as Paul explained. But that was merely a side concern. The real reason Apple was set up was because by forming the company, the Beatles would be able to have their earnings subject to corporate tax and not income tax. Corporate taxes were substantially less than income taxes. And there was no shortage of other ventures the Beatles wanted to get involved with. Apple Records was an obvious division, soon joined by Apple Publishing, Apple Films, Apple Publicity, Apple Management, and some less expected areas like Apple Retailing, Apple Tailoring, and Apple Electronics. The Beatles also solicited talent via an ad which pictured longtime Beatles aide Alastair Taylor dressed up as a street musician under the heading, "This man has talent." The ad going on to ask other people to send in tapes of their own musical creations. If you come and see me and say, "I've had such and such a dream," I will say, "Here's so much money, go away and do it," Paul announced grandly. As a result, Apple's offices were deluged with proposals for various projects, most envelopes never even being opened, let alone read. It was an early indication of how quickly Apple's abilities to achieve even their short-term goals would soon spin out of control. Apple offices were initially located at 94 Baker Street in London. As more people were hired, an additional branch was set up at 95 Wigmore Street. On July 15, 1968, most of Apple's departments moved to 3 Savile Row, which became the company's official headquarters. Each Beatle had his own office, and a studio was installed in the basement, used by the Beatles and other artists. Apple Records was proudly launched in mid-August with a special package of the label's first releases, labeled Our First Four, containing the singles Hey Jude, Those Were the Days, Sour Milk, and Thingamagob. Okay. By January 1969, John was telling a journalist that the company was badly run. It doesn't need to make vast profits, but if it carries on like this, all of us will be broke in the next 6 months. Not all of Apple's ventures proved profitable. The original Apple location on Baker Street had also housed the Apple shop, which carried clothes designed by a group of Dutch artists who called themselves the Fool. The shop opened with a flourish on December 7, 1967, but closed just over 7 months later on July 31st, 1968, with the entire stock given away free to the public. None of the film projects suggested for Apple Films, like Lord of the Rings, starring the Beatles, came to fruition. The same was true of many projects Apple wanted to do. And the Beatles and Mary Hopkin were Apple Records' only truly successful artists. Paul brought in his future in-laws, Lee Eastman and his son John, both attorneys, to put Apple in order, but the others brought in record executive Alan Klein. There was a reconstructing at the company with many people let go, but it proved to be too late. Eastman and Klein could not work together, which drove a fatal wedge between the Beatles. After the recording of Abbey Road, the Beatles largely stopped working together, though their breakup wouldn't be formally announced until April of 1970. That wasn't the end of Apple. No new records were released after 1976, but Neil Aspinall, Apple's managing director, stayed on at the company, undertaking the long process of getting the Beatles' affairs in order. A few films came out under the Apple name, such as George's Concert for Bangladesh. In the 90s, records by Apple artists were reissued on CD, and today the Apple logo can still be found on all Beatles releases. Well, that was a bit interesting, wasn't it? Very cool. Well, I think that was fun. Let's see, what else do we have? Whoops. No, I don't want that there. Nope, I don't want that there. Okay, so who's been commenting here? Pray tell. All right. I just don't have enough space here to read all these comments, sadly. All right. Well, at any rate, I'm going to bid you adieu. Hope you enjoyed our little midweek, midday escape from the mundane world of the ordinary, and learned a little bit about the Beatles, probably a little bit more than you knew an hour ago. We will see. Anyway, I'll be back in 2 weeks, a week from this coming Wednesday, for more Beatles trivia. So again, please follow me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady, and I'll be around. Later. Bye.